We will now be joined by Dr. Sam Amadi, who's a rice analyst, and he's joining us right here at the Abuja studio. And of course, Charles Ideho, who's a journalist and public affairs analyst, is joining us from our Lagos studio to help us understand all that we've seen so far. And then, of course, all the reports being received by Rice News. And so I'll be starting with you, Charles Ideho from our Lagos studio. Talk to us exactly about what you've received so far from the election, right from the morning period when these polling units opened up until when INEC extended the voting period, and of course, the collation that's ongoing. What's been your analysis so far?
Okay, thank you very much, Somna. I think I'm very happy because I'm a Dove myself. I'm a stakeholder in the manner of speaking. This morning I was on another platform where I had also the privilege to analyze what's going on in Edo State. I actually initially, I was thinking that there was going to be a voter party back in Edo State for reasons I stated that time because of people are complaining about good governance, particularly that road between Lagos and between Benin and Auchi, which of course have become very bad, and Troek-Boma and all that. Then they also had to, because of these heavy-duty vehicles going through on where I come from, people have not been happy. But I'm quite happy that the turnout has been quite massive, even though, for instance, where the PDP candidate voted, they said that INEC officials arrived very late, which of course he is trying to make a case out of, because I remember he said in the report, and of course the video I watched, that it was a calculated attempt to disenfranchise people from his stronghold. But I think we should be able to put that behind us. And for me, I think so far, except things change the course of the process, INEC has done quite well. The materials arriving places quite early, even though the rains almost mild the whole thing. But I'm so happy with my people back home in Edo State for the resilience, and then that voter education has gone on there, and people were quite upbeat about making a change, causing a change to happen back home in Edo State. Some now.
All right, Charles. I mean, from the INEC IReV portal, I'm seeing about 85% of votes. Of results have already been collated. This seems to be like one of the fastest results collation you can think of. So we're just awaiting about 15%. Does it look like we may have a new governor for Edo State tonight?
Well, with what is going on, I think it's most likely, or perhaps in the wee hours of Sunday, that's tomorrow, and that will be about the fastest. And again, it will also be credit to INEC if they are able to push that forward. You can see how fast it is. I understand that over 60-something%, as the last time before I came to the studio, that have been uploaded so far. I have also seen some of them because I visited the IReV, that's the INEC Result View Center. Quite impressive. So I think if they're able to get it right, and then the processes are seen to be quite credible, we may just be on our way to getting things right in this country, so that we have a template to work on, because Ondo State is upon us, Ondo State elections upon us. So I'm sure INEC is going to be getting the template to work to carry to Ondo, carry to all other places, because you have about 8 states where you have off-season elections. So Edo State may just be the turning point in our electoral processes where things are got right, where of course you have expedited actions in these processes that will give us, all of us, pass mark. To be a great team for INEC to get it right this time around, so that in case we can all go to church for Thanksgiving if you are a Christian, you go to Jumat for Thanksgiving, or Friday if you are a Muslim. So all of us can beat our chest, and then the international community will begin to now take a look at us and begin to see us as a nation that is getting very serious. Somna.
Okay, interesting perspective, actually. Before the international community starts looking at us very well, we need to look at ourselves critically and see if we're doing well in our elections. Because, if these results are not accepted by the people, no matter what the international community says, I mean, it will fall flat. But we have our own ears here, Dr. Sam Amadi, who has been listening to all that has been happening, helping us to watch right from the morning period. Talk to us, Dr. Sam Amadi, what's been your impression so far about this election, right from when the polls opened and up until when INEC extended the voting period and then the collation, and INEC is telling us that about 5% of the results are already in.
Well, I think first, INEC usually gets off-season elections, right in terms of both the preparation, deployment of material.
Incidentally, that's what I raised earlier with Dr. Seni Abdul.
They usually get it right because it's limited scope. But more importantly, the political incentives are not that intense. I mean, the ruling party will always want to win, but no president or governor or president for this matter, because INEC is a federal agency, would risk all his political capital to just ensure that he wins a state. But when an incumbent is running an election, whether it's PDP or APC or Labour Party as an incumbent, then the stakes are higher. And that's why we begin to see maybe last minute, drama like we saw in 2023. It was going well until last minute, whatever was the cost. So I always think, and I posted that long ago, that INEC will get most things right in this election, because it's limited scope, logistic nightmares don't exist. They've taken time to simulate and practice. They're on ground, and all eyes are there. I mean, the police deploys significant number of police officers. So, except that it's really recklessness on the part of both the security and INEC, you won't have a terrible election. But the question then is, and again, this election is also intense because people really made it an important election. Build up to this election, the campaigns were intense on all sides. PDP, the incumbent in the state, were everywhere campaigning as if they are the opposition party. The APC, that one would argue, based on several elections, probably didn't have too much, power to unseat, but really went bullish, campaigned everywhere. Labour Party usually is a two-horse race, but my Labour Party came in. Initially, they were like facing out as if probably this is just show up and go away. But the last 2-3 weeks, we've seen the Labour Party that was really invigorated, with Peter Obi, the leaders, governor of storming the place. And not just come and do the normal stadium thing. Went to various places. So it was built to be, it was intense.
I really liked that. Apart from the stadium thing that people just gather and all of that,
you go to
I really love they had to
places,
go, to really show that, look, we are different, and then, there could be something different about,
and so even if
messaging.
These guys, only one person will win tonight, but the three political parties, acquit themselves very well. They built momentum for probably next election. So I like the fact that it shouldn't be about winning also. It's also about using campaign period to set the people to talk about the issues and where governance fail, and hopefully present people choices that they could make that is meaningful. So this election is exemplary in many ways. I think I consider the way the issues were discussed more rigorous than other state elections. Even though the two leading parties did not attend the televised debate, but it didn't take away from the fact that they were very intense and forthcoming in their view. Again, this morning, voting started earlier than we normally have on general election. There were a few places, but the minimal reports about maybe 1 or 2 persons arrested or alleged to be arrested for buying votes, but nothing of the scale that we'll probably see in some other places. So, or like so in Osun, very many allegations, whether true or false. So this is really setting up well. We just hope that it finishes well, and the declared winner will be somebody that most people would somehow feel perhaps deserve to win. It doesn't matter.
And that's where my next question actually comes in. Shouldn't we be cautiously optimistic, Dr. Sam Amadi? Because, that's how all the elections start, and everybody keeps to be saying this. But when the overall picture comes, it now becomes something different. Most of the results that we're receiving are from urban centers or towns. But when the results from the villages and the interior areas start coming in, the game just changes.
The ball starts landing. But you see,
so that we don't heighten expectations.
Exactly. But you are right. The only difference here is, and that's why some of us keep talking about the IReV, what happened in 2023 in February. You have 85 results or percentage of results in. So which means you can't go against that IReV report. So I was arguing with some people, IReV is not the collections mechanism, but IReV is a validation process. Yeah. So when I say result in IReV, if we mutilate that result at the collection center, then there's a basis to say that can be the result because it's a real time. So the IReV is a rescue. And that's why its failure in February, whatever reason, whether sorcery or H, was a problem. So what you see now is this 15%, based on voter accreditation, by now they've all votes have happened. Yes. Votes have happened. So that means the IReV accreditation has happened. So if, for example, the total vote is expecting that is X, you can't. In the past, we used to see somebody can come with a very outrageous number. So for one zone, for one local government,
especially from political parties where they are popular.
Exactly, they'll go and give you 1 million, and then maybe the other guys live with 300,000, they give you 500. And there's no accreditation. There's no way to validate it. Yeah. So right now, the safety we have is that whatever comes out of this 15 would have to align with accreditation numbers, not registered number, which oftentimes may be bogus, maybe not accurate. So we have that safety, but then it's not yet done. That's the point I'm making. So we need to be cautious. But again, the idea here is if INEC, as shown so far, is not invested in any particular outcome, and the security does not misbehave, you will see that as we build up, if the leading figure is overtaken, it will be transparent. You will see where and why he got overtaken. We saw in America, even elsewhere, you can have a lead, and somebody eats up that lead and opens
as long as it's done in a transparent manner.
Clear, everybody could see the votes, everybody knew that you won this place, but this place cost the election. It's possible.
I'm very sure the collation centers of the various situation room of the various political parties, we already know where they're heading to at the moment.
I hope all of them do have that situation room because some parties may not have.
Well, I think the major ones will definitely have.
Absolutely.
All right, let me go back to my guest in Lagos. Charles, talk to us about how important it is for President Tinubu to actually deliver, an election that's very credible, so that he's seen to be a Democrat, so that under him we wouldn't see some signposts that tells us that 2027 may actually going to be worse than what we may have seen in past elections. How important is this off-season election, the governorship election in Edo State, as a pointer to what should happen in 2027?
Okay, well, you must realize that even elections that brought in Tinubu as president, those elections were contested. It wasn't as if it were free and fair until the court, the matter went all the way to the apex court, the Supreme Court, which of course now decided to say that he duly won the election. Okay, so somebody who has been at the forefront of, agitating for free and fair election, even when he was in those days with Nadeko. For Nadeko, he became governor of Lagos State for 8 years. He's been at the forefront of asking that the processes be got right. So now that he's there, he has no excuse whatsoever for him not to get it right, because it's like somebody who is on the bench. If in the manner of speaking, we're playing football, somebody's on the bench, he has all the tactics in his head. Okay, now he's put into the field. He is expected to deliver what he has in his head to cause victory to happen to his side. So that's an analogy I can give about Tinubu being the president. And so if he gets this right, as I said, Edo State is going to be a litmus test for what INEC will do in the future. So if all the processes, as we are seeing at the early collation result, the IReV is now being filled with result, and then all the things, they all go unchallenged, then I think it will be a big boost for Tinubu's image. It will be a big boost for INEC, to be also a big boost for us Nigerians, that there's something, at least one thing that we have gotten right, and which of course we cascade into every other thing in the body politic, so that we can begin to look forward to greater things happening in future. Somna.
You are from Edo State. Talk to us about how important it is
Yes.
for voters to make the right decision this time around in this election. I mean, we've seen these political gladiators actually just changing camps. I mean, Oshomole and Obaseki were all in the same camp, and they changed. And then, of course, they now started fighting and all of that. Talk to us about how it's important for the people of Edo State to get the right governor that could actually make decisions, not based on political godfathers, but decisions that could actually lead to better governance for the people of the state.
Okay, sadly, Somna, it might be difficult because of the leadership equation in Edo State, how the pendulum oscillates amongst the three. Okay, Edo State stands on a tripod. I'm sure that, or just like all states, you have the Edo South, Benin speaking. You have the Edo Central, Esan speaking, and then the Edo North, Afema speaking. So there's been this call that. One of the three legs have been over time as if they suppressed the leadership pendulum not swinging their way. That's ESA. Since 2008, when Oshomole emerged after that court victory, when he was the AC governor, became APC and all that. ACN actually before it became APC. So there's been this cry since the court sacked Professor Osari Emosombo that the pendulum of leadership had not swung the way of Edo Central. But now that two of the the leading political parties have zoned their tickets to that area, it might be difficult to see how people can go about leadership, the choice of leadership, because all they are saying now is that it's our turn. Because look at it, it's about the ESA agenda. So it has to be our turn. Whether they are able to bring the right person from there or not, let our son be there, all right? So when you also look at that matter of the other party, you say, okay, he's done quite well for himself, but it's also his turn to. So everything you are seeing now, sometimes about it's my turn, it's the turn of son to be there, it's turn of so it wants to have a situation where everybody is trying to lay claim to the center. Then it becomes difficult for you to know whether the right person will be chosen, because everybody is looking at this is mine, this is our turn, just like the Emilokon mantra. Okay, so it's the Emilokon mantra that is playing out in Edo State right now. It has to be ESA. And then when you get to Edo Central rests on two legs. One is Ukbaivolo. Incidentally, is the name of one of the candidates. The other one is Agbazilo. Okay, so the Agbazilo is where you have the PDP PDP candidate come from. Ukbaivolo has the APC. So over there's also a what they call a silent battle between the Ukbaivolo bloc and the Agbazilo bloc. So it might be difficult for you to see how they will how they're going to be choosing their leader. Using all these factors I just enumerated somewhere.
And some people say that the Labour Party's candidate is actually the spoiler in this election, because, I mean, it depends on how those South actually reacts that we'll know where the governorship will actually go to. Because, I mean, both the APC and PDP come from Edo Central, and of course, you know that the votes will be splitting right there. And then, of course, Edo North, of course, Shomole says that's a stronghold. It's left to be seen how the people in that zone will react to show if they're so confident with what APC has been doing. And let's talk about Edo South now. How much of a factor is Edo South in this election, considering that the Labour Party has been making gains in that senatorial district right from the 2023 general elections, and they seem to have embraced more of the Labour Party and all of that. And of course, you could see how the Labour Party tried to dominate that axis. How much do you think of a spoiler or a gainer Edo South could actually be?
Okay, well, so many questions in one box. Let me try and unbox them. First, let's look at the Labour Party. Well, indeed, you said what kind of relevance would Edo South bring? Of course, Edo South has about 57-point-something%. I can't recall, but I know it's about 57-point-something% of the voting population over there. Followed by where I come from, Edo North with about 29 or 26. Can't recall, about 29 or so, and then Edo Central about 16-point-something. So if you look at that way, I say it's far. It's larger when you talk about 57 point something percent voting population, followed by 20 something. So it's quite large over there. And then the issue of Labour having, okay, people said that Edo South is because it's a Labour enclave, but that has been. I think that has been, how do I say it now? There's a way, you can't longer say so. Yes, I do understand that because of the obedient movement of the 2023, Labour was very strong, quite strong in Edo South, which of course gave rise to the victory of the young man who is representing Edo South in the Red Chamber. But over the years, over these intervening months, that has waned. Because I was in Benin in June, I went around and all that. I went to Edo, I was in Benin. So that has waned over this intervening month because the obedient movement right now in Edo State is not as strong as it used to be. Which of course Akpata wanted to ride on that, to ride on that to victory. But the obedient movement we saw that was very strong, that gave victory to that young man in Edo South, has waned over this intervening, as I said earlier. So it may not be a factor right now in this election. I don't know if you know, it's in report that even Akpata lost his polling units. So that's a pointer to the fact that the Labour that was quite popular in 2023 election because of what I said about the influence of the obedient movement has actually lost its steam. It may not be. It may just be a two-horse race. I want to be controversial. It may just be a two-horse race as results continue to trickle in.
All right. Well, we'll continue to see how it all plays out. We are not supposed to actually announce results at the moment, so we will be following INEC on the result viewing portal. But we'll be going on a short break.